All right. Well, hey, you guys. This is Josh with Homesteading Family. Welcome to this week's episode of the Pantry Chat Food for Thought. I'm really excited today. I got my good friend Justin Rhodes here. We're going to be hanging out, talking homesteading and specifically homestead builds. Justin has got a phenomenal new book out, all about building some of the things you need on your homestead. So we're going to have a fun chat about that. First, let me tell you, though, about our sponsor. We're thankful for our sponsors that help make these things happen. And then we'll bring Justin on. Okay, and today's sponsor is We're the Wurst. You heard that right. Today's sponsor is We're the Wurst. Now, We're the Wurst is a sausage-making company with a very interesting name in Redmond, Oregon, that uses superior ingredients and methods. And their goal is to bring the old world to your table. From bratwurst to chorizo, British bangers to kielbasa, they can provide a variety of sausages for a large brew pub or your next backyard picnic. In fact, they make sausages of all kinds of traditions, such as Spanish, German, Hungarian, South African, Portuguese, British, and Moroccan. That is a mouthful, literally both ways. Now, they want to honor the cultures from which these sausage recipes come and keep perfecting their blends until they get a nod from someone from that culture who knows what it ought to taste like. And they even make an herbed molasses breakfast sausage that you will want to add to your breakfast menu. I know that I do now. That sounds amazing. Anyways, thanks, We're the Wurst, for sponsoring this podcast today. You guys go check them out. I'm excited to be hanging out with Justin today. Many of you know Justin Rhodes from Abundant Permaculture. He is known as the Crazy Chicken Ninja, the Bird Man, Uncle Justin. He is an amazing husband, dad, homesteader, author, YouTube storyteller. And always fun to talk to, always some good laughs, something to learn. And so happy to have Justin here today. Let's get him. There he is. Hey, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good. So, hey, we always like to do a little chit chat here and just see what's going on with the homestead. Take a look inside, like what's really happening. So what's day to day for you right now there in Virginia? What's your day looking like? What are you guys into?
Spring has sprung. So it is, we've hit the ground running. I'm looking out the window as I talk to you and I can see the cows out on grass. We just had a new calf with one of those cows. We are now dealing with their deep bedding. So we deep bed the ruminants over the winter. Mm-hmm. And then that material that, their manure and urine mixes with that wood chips, that needs to get piled up and turned into more fine compost before it goes down. It's a good year to do this because we got slammed with Hurricane Helene and lost probably 2 or 3 acres of topsoil along our creek. And so every bit of that, and it's tons. I mean, a cow, and we have 10 cow equivalents through the winter, 50 pounds of manure a day. So you match that with the dry material. So it's a lot of material. It's tons and tons. We're gonna have probably gonna have a pile of compost 20 feet tall. I'm not kidding. Maybe
no, I'm with you. We're doing the same thing.
Oh, maybe. Yep. Thankfully, we have a mini X to turn it.
Yep. Ours is probably 12 foot wide. I haven't gotten it out of the barn yet, but 30, 40 foot long and
oh wow,
6 to 8 foot tall. I don't know what that is in cubic yards, but
okay, so I'm not the craziest chicken lady.
Oh man, that's gold. That's gold, isn't it? On the pasture and in the garden.
Yeah, it's gonna build our soil back.
Yeah,
I mean, probably by fall we'll be grazing it. It could be that fast. Certainly by next year.
Yeah. How are you guys doing with I don't want to get too far. We got to make sure and talk about your book here, but you guys got hit hard by that hurricane last fall, and how you doing? You got your fences back up, your barn kind of squeaked by, I think, if I remember from the video. It was close, but I don't think you lost any part of it.
Yeah, we lost footing to 2 of the poles, so those poles collapsed. thankfully it was full of hay. So that hay, the roof fell on the hay and it probably saved it, really.
Yeah. Okay.
And washed it out underneath, including some concrete. I mean, the concrete's that thick. I was down there looking at it today. I mean,
Yeah.
it's 8 inches thick. And we're 25 feet away from the creek and 12 feet up. I mean, just think about that. And that would have been on both sides. So we were talking about 50 feet of water wide and 12 feet deep.
Yeah.
Talking 1,000x the water. So it was crazy. So we've shored those up. You know, we've gotten material into there. You know, we lost our turkeys, we lost our bees, we lost our high tunnel. We've replaced turkeys, we've replaced the high tunnel now. Thank you, farmers friend. And then the bees we lack, and you know, I don't know if we'll be able, if we have the wherewithal to get them this year. Our word for this year is recovery.
Mm-hmm.
So we're filtering things through that. We're tempted to go and clear another 2 acres, say.
Right.
That's what we do every winter, but we had to say, well, our word's recovery. So restore the 2 acres that got washed away.
Yeah.
And so making a decision about bees, it may be obvious that we should get them. I need to be on that now because that's recovery. Doing 8 events is not recover. Okay, so we just doing a couple of, you know, get some diverse income coming through. That could help with the recovery, you know. So it's helping to have that filter, and it's helping me with knowing what to do day to day. And like I knew what to do today because the cows are out, the hay's out. That means now's the time for us to saw off the edge of the concrete because water went under the concrete, and the only way to pack that back is to saw off the concrete, pack it, and then reconcrete it. So it's given us focus, and that's where we are. We're probably 80% there with our projects to recover it, and now few more 10 more percent things, and then nature gets the rest of the 10% in time to do it. But you know, we've grazed our animals on that, hay bombed it. We run the pigs through there, and we're seeding after them. We're about to put the chickens on it, and just the Cornish cross are going down there. We're just
throwing everything at it. Yeah, yeah. Lots of fertility.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love the word recovery. I just love the idea that you have a theme for the year, that just one word that kind of guides what you're doing. That's a cool principle. Have you been doing that? Do you do that every year?
You know, no, I wish I could say I would, and we're going to do it every year henceforth. And not only we had the hurricane, Rebecca's mom died after a long battle with ALS, and it all kind of happened together. And, you know, we also rebuilt our house and are in that too. So it's, you know, Rebecca heard it somewhere on social media to have one word, and she knew what our word was immediately: recover. Yeah. And, you know, your word may be build or slow down or explore,
right?
Create, you know, and that helps because on the homestead you want to do so much, so much time, money, and energy. And when it then comes down to what do I do today, in deciding, do I add on to the garden or do I try to get a neighboring 3-acre lease or this and that? Well, let's go back to recover. Does it make sense for that?
No, I love it. I think I think anybody, right? But thinking homesteaders, and you just said it, I mean, we're homesteaders. There's always something to do. There's so much to do. And, you know, I haven't met a lazy homesteader. I think if anything, we go at too much, too full bore, too long. And so having that concept right there, that really resonates with me, and just like having an idea. And we actually have it this year because for us, it is slow down. We're taking kind of a sabbatical this year. It's not doing anything, but it's no major projects. It's slowing down. But I hadn't really thought of it quite. You just really put it so succinctly, and like having a word, recovery. And you go, yeah, man, that guides those decisions. That helps us keep in check, and which is so important for the long haul, you know, for sticking with it. We talk about homestead burnout, and I think it's Joel that was talking, Joel Salatin, for those of you that don't know. I think the average burnout is 6 years, if I remember right, somewhere in there, and we want to help people get past that, and that takes this kind of thinking that you're talking about right here. That kind of thematic. I like it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, hey, another thing you need to do is you need to know how to build things and to build the right things. And so you've got this book right here that is cool, man. This is an encyclopedia. Let me get in front of the camera. Homestead Builds. So, well, I don't want to. It's your book. You talk about it. What is it and why? Let's start there.
Well, who is it says? Was it Jason Sutherland or somebody else says this? Grow things, build things, and fix things. So there's 3 aspects of homesteading. It's not necessarily just the growing of the food, and you end up having to be a jack of all trades. And they say jack of all trades, master of none, but I say jack of all trades, master of one, and that's permaculture. So learning how to make it all work together.
Yeah.
And it is okay to not be a master of everything, but you've got to do a little bit of everything. You really end up doing. And so you get into homesteading, and you may be dreaming about that milk cow, but that milk cow is going to need minerals. So it's going to need something to carry minerals in. It's going to need shade if you don't have trees. So you're going to have to build something. So, chickens need a coop, and a lot of the coops on the market are just ridiculous. They're expensive, or they just don't make sense. And you can tell that you can build, design them. People are cleaning out chicken coops with their poop, and you just don't have to do that. So when I started homesteading, I wanted to do it just like Joel Salatin, but Joel Salatin is doing 300 chickens, and I just wanted to do 12 or 24. I did a poll on X the other day, and I asked how many chickens people had, and I said less than 12. I think it was 12 to 24, and then 36 and up or something. People have 12 to 24 chickens. They don't have many chickens. Okay.
That's what most people need, right?
I know. How many do you need? If you're getting 3 or 4 eggs a week from one chicken, 3 chickens is going to give you a dozen eggs a week. Is that right? I'm supposed to do math in public, but something like that. Okay. I'm like, wait, I don't have a tractor. I'm just homesteading on 5 acres or whatever it was at the time. How do I move my chickens around? And then I saw in Elliot Coleman's book, New Organic Grower, he had this concept for a chickshaw. And it's this idea of going off of a rickshaw, the Asian rickshaw, that people will carry other people. And the weight is balanced on 2 wheels, and that's how you can do it. It's how you can carry a couple 100 pounds. It's just balanced on a couple of wheels. And, I tried to, there was a company building those in Elliot Coleman fashion, but they were expensive. Metal parts, and then it was just, we had to really homestead creatively at that time, and couldn't afford it, and it just wasn't common material, and you'd have to weld to do it. And I said, I think I can do this out of just common 2x4s. And sure enough, the Justin Rhodes chickshaw was born. Yeah. And it's really popular. I was writing blogs at the time, and we put out that chickshaw and free plans for it. And the free plans are still available, but I began to perfect it over the years, and it's a mobile chicken coop, just like Joel. He moves the chickens regularly out on the pasture. With Joel, you either move. There's only 2 options in farming. Thankfully, I found him and learned how to farm this way. There's 2 options with animals: you move them, or you put them on deep bedding. Rest and sanitation, which is the moving, and you let the sun sanitize, or vibrant decomposition, which is the deep bedding, and it keeps everybody sanitary and healthy, and improves the quality of your grass over time. I mean, and we have limited acres and growing family, but we're getting more and more from the same acres because we do that. But anyway, I can now move chickens up to 36 in a 5x5 chickshaw. It took a couple of years. It took chickshaw. I call it the chickshaw 5.0 because it's the 5th version, and it's 5 foot, and it's perfected. We partnered with an intern that that was at Joel's Polyface farm, and he helped Joel write the book, Polyface Designs. He's the guy, Chris Slattery. He's the guy behind the graphics and the steps, and more of the inventor and how do you use this and the concept. And now you can farm like Joel Salatin, even if you have 4 chickens. You could put them in, you could build my chicken tractor and not even have a fence for it. Just put 4 chickens in a chicken tractor and move it around your yard.
Yeah. And
it's really resonated with people. It was really popular. All our builds were really popular on our blog. We perfected them over the years, partnered with a guy who was a carpenter and I'm not a carpenter. You know, I'm a homesteader, permaculture homesteader, partnered with a carpenter and then a engineer. He's a carpenter and an engineer and knows farming. So rare find. And I'm really proud of that book. And I couldn't have done it without him to that level of perfection.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, it's at that timeless point. I don't know if I can improve on the designs anymore. Poop falls through the floor. You rarely have to clean out poop. The only case you do is maybe some hay gets on it and then it doesn't fall through. I know you've built it. You could probably speak to some of this. It's minimal. Chickens don't need the 8-foot tall coop. You don't need to get in the coop. That's disgusting. Yeah. Why are you getting in there? Fecal dust. Don't get in there. You can get the eggs from the outside. You can let the chickens out from the outside. You move it, rarely clean it. And it's light and practical and affordable. Even with the wood prices, building these things range from $700 to $1,500, I think is the most expensive one, the Pretty Shaw. I call it the Pretty Shaw because it's, you know, gabled roof.
Oh, yeah, that's cute.
You match your house, right? Like the beautiful one wanted she said, I want a cute coop for the yard. And I said, okay, as long as it can be mobile, because even if it's in a stationary coop or a run that's staying put, we put deep bedding in there, and I still want the coop moved around because we got to spread that manure love. You know, half of their manure comes out at night. So we spread it around. We never have to handle that manure, and it's dropping onto wood chips, and then that turns into compost that we just put on our garden, which is next door to it, right? That's the permaculture concept. Put these things next to each other so they can complement each other. So and that design is in there too. You know, the what I call the compost corner. It's a chicken run.
I was noticing that this morning. Yeah, looking getting just.
I was at Joel's, and he's like, he was inspired. He's been here, and he's like, I want to do that now. You know, he's getting older, and he's like, I've got this little garden. I just need to get one of these young interns to help me get it going. We want to do a deep bedded chicken run next to the garden. It just makes so much sense. You're throwing your weeds right into it. Yeah. And if they don't eat the weeds, it turns into compost. And then, so you fed the chicken with the garden, throwing in the weeds, extra produce. When the beautiful one's not looking, I might throw in a tomato. And then, I'm just kidding. She knows I might do this. And then the deep bedding run, they're manuring on it. They're turning it. It's raining. And then it's wood chips. That's the 4 ingredients you need for compost. And so eventually compost underneath that, and you rake that to the side, get some compost out, and feed your garden. So the chickens feed the garden, and the garden feed the chickens. So we have a raised bed in there because, you know, it's a great, what if you need a garden that's very beautiful, or in our case, the soil needed to be off the ground because we wanted this in our front yard, and we're kind of in the valley here, and it can flood in a rain event. And so to get our plants up, and then also it was Chris's idea to do vertical space. So you have this option for trellises and rails to guard it from dogs. I mean, I don't know I won't promise you it'll keep cats out. It will deter them, but so it may help you a little bit with the cat problem in the garden.
You could probably, I mean, it'd limit access a little bit, but you could probably put some panels, some chicken wire panels, like if you needed to. I've lived in environments in the Southwest where, you know, when you grow a garden, it's like an oasis shining a light to every bird, squirrel, raccoon, vole, mole, whatever. And we've had to take like what you've got, what you did in here, but it was like Fort Knox, you know, and hardware cloth on the bottom and chicken wire. Anyways, you could probably do that with your design. Like if people were having critter problems, cat problems.
Yeah, you can hang bug net on it because the trellis, and You can do a shade cloth on it if you're farming in Arizona and need to, do that. So it just came from an inspiration to homestead in a regenerative way, like Joel, but on a very small scale.
Well, and you're making this makes it so accessible. And one of the things is, I mean, as homesteaders, everybody, we're all trying to do so much. We're trying to learn so much, trying to figure out how to maximize the land. And then there's like, how do I build this? So like, cool, that's cool. Yeah. Justin made this mobile tractor or these raised beds, but then you like it, you see it, but how do you build it? How do you know to build it if you haven't built anything before? How do you know to figure out what parts you need? And for some people, it's like, what tools do I need? At this point. And this, every single one of your plans in here has got all of that, like detail by detail, not just like here it is and here's materials list. It's like a detailed materials list, and then step by step, how do you assemble it, and not IKEA style, but like really help you along the way, and then how to use it as well. I think this is invaluable. I mean, I'm a builder. I've been building things all my life since I was a kid. I've been on some form of land off and on all my life. And, I'm going to be using this. In fact, I'm going to do, I'll probably do my version because I'm like that. But your, what'd you call it? And here, I got to open it for the turkeys.
Turkey shaw.
Yeah. The turkey shaw. I'm going to take one of the, I'm just going to use one of the meat shaws because I've got several of those, your design basically. And I'm going to modify it like that for our turkeys.
Well, here's the thing. You could take, and a lot of people are doing that, but it's still a good start. It's a good foundation to then build off of. So the turkey shawl, for example, it's for 20. I mean, even if you were doing 10, it's so minimal, you could just still build the 20. Say you want to build
exactly the way you've got it. Yeah, for 10.
You could build 2, or you could build it bigger, just scale it up, tweak the plans. I've seen people put automatic doors on my chick shawl. I have somebody not 3 miles away from here. They had wagon wheels, wooden wagon wheels with metal rims. That's what they had. So
yeah, that's heavy duty right there.
Modification. And
probably what they had laying. I guess they had them laying around. I don't know. Or they just wanted a cool factor.
If I'm going to add to those chicken coops, I would actually go to the micro shawl and do a 2-foot by 3-foot one or something, because so many people are just doing so little amount of chickens.
Yeah.
And also I would go the other way too. The biggest one's 5 by 5. I would go to a mega shawl. I've had people call me and say, or text, DM me and say, how do I make one that's 8 foot by 8 foot? And I'll say, well,
ooh, that's big. That's heavy.
You make it a dually.
Yeah.
And you need to support the axles out along the edge, and maybe instead of a box frame, you do a cattle panel arch.
There you go.
With the wooden walls on either side, and it'll help you take down some weight, but you could put 100 birds in that thing.
Yeah. What's the biggest meat shaw you've seen?
Mine, I haven't seen one bigger than that, 8 by 8. You got one bigger?
I did 10 by 12. I tried to do one same size as a standard chicken tractor, right? 10 by 12 on flat ground, which mine is not. It would work great. I'd have to tweak it a little, go more 1 by, a little beefier wheel. We ran them for a couple years, and 10 by 12, and they move pretty good, but on the slope. Yeah, because I'm running, parallel to the grade, right? On parallel to contour on my land, running lanes, and the wheels, just everything started to buckle and shift. But they're too big. I've come back to that 8 by 8, but
well, you've seen my land. You were here that day. We moved that milk sled from a yard.
Oh yeah,
around to the pasture, and it's gnarly. I mean, that one pasture we were going to is 30 degree slope, and Joel called it nook and cranny farming, and I'll think because we're farming this pasture over here, and then we got to cross this yard, and then we're actually grazing this yard,
right?
then, you know, so it's all these little nook and crannies, and then it's 30-degree slope, and that's a lot of homesteaders, and a lot of them it's crazier than that.
Yep.
So it, you know, my designs ended up being, just by the nature of what I have, a little more compact and micro and ready for a 30-degree slope. In fact, we made it to one of the perfections on the chickshaw was a bar now where there's a single bar that you can add to it. You can remove it and add it, and you can hitch it up. It's got you can put a 2.2-inch ball, or you can put any size hitch if you want on it. But we put the 2-inch ball on it, and we can hook it up to, a mower or in our case, a side-by-side. And that's for the big move across the whole farm, or if you're going up the 30-degree slope, or hey, when I got reactive arthritis and I was crippled and had to do everything with my side-by-side, I would just pull it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I want to tell everybody what you've got in here so they know. I mean, you got, raised bed garden plan, your whole compost corner, which is what we were talking about a minute ago with for that chicken run, basically, right?
Yeah.
Great little compost sifter in there, which everybody should have. Super simple, super cool. Produce curing rack for drying. Gosh, you could dry produce, herbs, all kinds of things.
We put our onions and garlic on it every year, and sweet potatoes.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Poultry brooder. Of course, chicken tractor. Chickshaw mini me. What's the chickshaw mini me? I skipped over.
Chickshaw mini me is 4 foot by 4 foot. So it's 16 square feet inside. So the Chickshaw 5.0 is 5 foot by 5 foot. So 25 square feet.
Yeah.
So cool. You build the Chickshaw mini me if you are going to have 24 chickens or less. If you have more than 24 to 36, you build the Chickshaw 5.0.
Yeah. Turkey Shaw. I'm gonna go after that one this year.
And
we've been selling turkeys. One of my sons raising turkeys and selling them for Thanksgiving turkeys, and so we're getting up there.
And that one, Josh, I just encompass that with a pig net. If you're getting the broad-breasted white production turkeys, they don't fly or jump the pig net. We just step right over it and tend turkeys. Yeah. Yep. And then that one, I seriously went to Polyface Farm with a measuring tape, jumped the fence, and took measurements. And that of course, if people don't know, Joe, that of course is fine. Anybody can do that without permission. Just 24/7 open door policy. I measured it, and his is for like 600 turkeys. He calls it.
I've been there. Yeah, that thing is huge.
I just measured how much perch has he given, how much shade. And I did the turkey shaw, and then it was close enough that we can make it 4 foot by 4. It's a 4 foot by 4. It's a 4 foot cube. It's like 4 feet tall, 4 feet wide, 4 feet long. But why 4 feet? Because you cut a 2 by 8 in half.
Yeah, good use of material.
So we also keep it, like you were saying, from the builder perspective. We also keep it, to where you're not going to waste a lot of material. I mean, Chris is adamant about that. He's got cut lists and all this, so he'll tell you exactly how many boards to buy, and he'll give you a cut list to tell exactly where to cut them all, so that you have minimum waste. But yeah, I just learned that from Joel. I mean, and just took it down to the homestead level. They just need a shade cloth. They don't see that. We're treating the turkey how the turkey wants to be treated. All right, let the turkey be the turkey. And if you look at the wild turkeys, they're just perching up in trees.
Right.
So turkeys don't care to get wet. Chickens do. Matter than a wet hen. You want to keep your chickens dry. But a turkey, just a shade cloth and no walls. Just area. Keep the owls off of them at night or whatever, and just give them some shade from the hot summer sun. Yeah. And you're good.
No, that's a good one. I like it. And we can move them through our rotation. For us, just we can move them right behind the rest of the critters through our rotation we do here. And it's perfect. You got meat shaw in here. Of course, if you're doing meat chicken, small scale, I love the meat shaw as opposed. Chicken tractor, meat shaw, they both got their place, right? I think you've gone more to the meat shaw for raising chickens most of the time.
For meat chickens, I do the meat shaw all the time. I should add too that I think the addition you built, the meat shaw was still relatively low to the ground, like 2-ish feet. First I put it real low to enhance the predator protection. But when Joel saw that, I had him out for a consult. He's like, they're going to get too hot under there. There's not enough, ventilation.
Yeah.
And so I raised it to 2 feet, and they still weren't getting got by predators. And I said, what if I raise it to the level of the sheep shaw?
Yep. So they're all the same.
They're all the same. So now when you're not using that meat shaw, which you only use it 5 weeks out of the year, perhaps, because your Cornish cross are 3 weeks in the brooder, and then they're 5 weeks in the field, and then you harvest them. So now, I mean, you could use it the rest of the time of the year as a sheep shaw. The only difference is we add minerals to the sheep shaw, and so we add an amendment to that.
Mm-hmm.
That'll go into Homestead Village Volume 2, but that's already out. Like, if somebody asks for it, we'll send it to them.
Volume 2?
What?
You got a Volume 2 already?
No, not right now. That's going to be years, but we're working on it. It's Volume 2 will be the milk sled, which is our mobile milking shade sled for cows. It'll be the pig port. We have this amazing. I don't think we had that when you were here, but we have this shed on skids that we can put the pigs in next to the crop garden. So next to our big 8,400 square foot garden. Mm-hmm. So all the wasted crops and weeds go in them, and deep bedding concept. The cool thing about this thing is you can put lean-tos on any sides of it. So you could protect a side and have feed storage. You could put a side and have keep your wood chips dry. And then what's really cool about it is on 2 ends, you have gates, 10-foot wide gates that you can open. And so your deep bedding has built it up. Well, you just open the gates and you just pull the pig port away. And then your compost is there, and you can turn it and make it fine. And then it's right there next to your garden. So you feed your garden. So Volume 2's a long way away. Chris is working part-time on this. And, but anyway.
Yeah, you'll get there. I've been using the meat shaw for pigs, for moving my pigs around. Just the meat shaws, and because I've got some great. I do both pigs. I do regular, rooting pigs, and I do some of those coonies that are grazing pigs, because
that'd be great for that.
Well, they live on nothing, and the pigs, the coonies, they mow a lot of my areas around my implements and all my little areas where the sheep would get out and cause problems, or goats. Those coonies and they don't root. So, I just do a little single wire on those Gallagher reels, and I can create little areas where, I was weed whacking all the time. But I put one of your meat shaws in there for them, and that gives them the shade they need, and we can just move that around real easy. So this is so utilitarian.
Yeah, just make that meat shawl and just multi-purpose. I mean, that's another permaculture concept, multi-purpose everything.
Yeah, that's it. Yep, stack those functions. Poultry drying rack you got in there, and if you're butchering your own chickens, you definitely need that. And then, of course, I love it, and of course, it's on the cover for your beautiful one, the pretty shaw. For those of you that want to have it just looking sweet and cottage style, and I imagine you could paint that thing any color you wanted.
Yeah.
And, I like the black and white in there. And you guys, this is, like I said, I've been building for 20 years. I'm pretty good at making stuff. This is a cool, trying to get in front of the camera. This is just a great book. I think every homesteader needs this on your shelf. And when you go and do something the first time, and I'm bad at this myself, because I always think I have a better idea, and then I find out I didn't, or it took me 5 iterations to get there. When you go and do it the first time, take the directions like what Justin has in here and just go build it. Everything you need, materials, how to put it together, how to use it, and you go build it. And everything in here is so versatile. And then you'll figure out if you want to make little tweaks for your own operation. But I think most of the time, most people are going to find that what you've got in here, Justin's going to suit them so well. And I saw something really cool here. So we get long winters, right? Chickens just aren't. There's 5 months of the year the snow is too deep for them to be out and around in. And a lot of people have permanent coops, which I've got one just built into my barn. And then of course I've got the chicken, what do you call it? Chickshaw. Yeah. I saw somebody on my way over to my chiropractor. They built they got your chicken tractor, and they got for the meat birds, and they got your chickshaw. It's verbatim, done to the book. But what they did that I thought was cool, instead of having a permanent coop, they've got a lean-to off the barn that's all roofed, netted in, chicken wired in. And so during this time of year, spring season, they got the chickens out in their chick shaw. But then when the snow comes, they just pull it into that thing, got the wood shavings, the deep bedding. So instead of having a whole nother permanent coop, they just pull that thing right in and close the gates, and the chickens are good for the winter. They got plenty of area to move, but they're dual using it winter and spring, which you have to have here. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. We just pull
It saves the money, Yeah.
We just pull ours into the high tunnel.
Right. Yeah.
Or actually, in the high tunnel, we use the turkey shaw because they just need a perch.
Right.
So somebody could, in your case, you're up north, have a little greenhouse for the chickens and just put a turkey shaw in there.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't do them without the barn. They help. The chickens help in the barn all year, because we're in the barn for a while. We're 5 months, a little bit longer. I'm working on extending my seasons with pasture and management and all that, but we still just get deep snow. So the chickens for us, they help keep that barn sanitary. Even though we're doing the deep bedding, they help get in there and mix all the manures up and scratch everything in, and that's working good for us. But what's your favorite build in here? What's your favorite?
If somebody could only build one build.
I don't know. Or just what do you love? What are you attached to the most? What's your what's your favorite part? Not if you can only do one. I mean, but like for you,
for me, the favorite one is chickshaw. It's because I would say because it's so me. It's chicken tractors had been done before, pretty good, but the chickshaw was so popular, and it is so me. And it is so to my scale, and for me, it would be the chickshaw 5.0. So, 36 birds, and run them out in pasture behind the cows for a while, bring them back to our big, we talked about that big compost pile we're making. Well, park the chicken. I like to keep chickens in that, put a net around that all season, and they help us turn that compost pile. I would say that one.
Yeah, that is you. When you did permaculture chickens, that was in there, wasn't it?
It was in there. So it's
that's where we built our first one. And I thought you said today you got that from the original idea from Elliot Coleman. I thought you got that from Jeff Lawton, and here's why. Because right after that came out, I went and spent a week at Zaytuna with Jeff, and I knew you had been there, and he had a version similar.
Yeah,
you probably remember that.
He made this movie called Chicken Tractor on Steroids, and I will say I got the concept to use chickens to help on compost from him. But even before I found permaculture, I found organic gardening. So I was reading Elliot Coleman.
Yeah. Okay.
About that same time. These are the very first. So it was Elliot Coleman and Joel Salatin we found. Elliot Coleman for our gardening methods, and then Joel Salatin for our husbandry methods, the animals. And so
they're grandfathers, aren't they?
The vision for the chicken. And see, I don't think Elliot wasn't even doing that. It was just a concept at that time in his book.
Yeah.
And it's funny, when we went there in 2017, he had some of those metal fabricated ones, and it looked like the chickens were doing a great job with them. But the chick shop, it's just again, it's like so me. Like anybody, you can build this. It's so simple and it's so practical. That's partly why it's so me too, and multi-purpose. Yeah. The door is also the ramp for them to get out. Mm-hmm. The handle for pulling it is also the prop to lift up the lid if you have to get in there. We made nest boxes from milk crates, and over the year, you might have done it when we had the swivel bar, but you don't even have the swivel bar anymore. You just turn the crate sideways if you need to block chickens from getting in the nest. So it's just gotten even more simple, and it's just 2 wheels, and it's just and it's mobile. And it can do anything. It could be a permanent coop. You can park like that guy in the winter. He parks it. If you're in cold, people say, "Well, we're in the cold." Park it, turn it facing the south. Put some green plastic over the front. Put hay bales around it. Put deep bedding outside outside of it and put it in a deep bedded area, maybe where you want to garden in the spring. And there's your winter coop. That's what we did for 10 plus years, before we had a greenhouse.
Yeah, no, those chickens are fine in the cold. I mean, there's a point where they get their, get a little frostbite on there.
It never kills them. I've never seen it kill them. And we traveled around in 2017, going from Minnesota -60. I mean, we weren't there when it was cold. We traveled with the good weather, but they told me about this. And then, we're going into Alaska and Idaho, Wyoming, where 8-foot snow drifts. Everybody has chickens. They have chickens, and nobody's talking about, oh my God, what do we do with the chickens in the winter? You see winter chickens. You see birds in the winter where you are, don't you? Wild birds. I mean, here there's dozens. Cardinals, crows, owls, whatever, and then just ask Miss Greenhouse, what's the wild birds in my area? And you could be up north, you could be in Maine. And so your birds, your dual purpose birds, your Rhode Island Reds, Black Australian Larps, Buffalo Wingtons are being just fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Too good. Well, cool, man. I love this book.
Yay.
Happy to jump on. I want all you guys out there listening. This just needs to be part of your library. It should be there. And so we'll drop you a link for that below. And for Justin, for people that want to get familiar with you, if they're not, or want to connect or whatever, where do you want them to go hook up?
You can go to Justin. If you search Justin Rhodes on any of the social medias, I'm primarily on YouTube, blogging there, daily blogging, our homestead adventures there. Of course, we have a platform, Abundance Plus, if you want to go further with us or get in contact with me directly. I would say those are the two things, probably Justin Rhodes on YouTube or Abundance Plus.
Yeah. And we'll drop those links for you guys, and definitely check out Abundance Plus if you haven't seen that. Just a wealth of inspiration and knowledge. Cool platform for the homesteader. So go check that out. You
have an hour-long documentary on there following your year.
You're the storyteller, right? And so you're the only one to capture that story like that.
That year, that's one of the best films in there.
And yeah, that was cool to get to do. So honored to have our story there with you.
Yeah.
Well, hey man, it's been good hanging out. Thank you everybody for hanging out with us today. Go check out Justin's book. Drop in and say howdy to him, and we'll look forward to seeing you all soon. Have a fantastic week and a fantastic spring.
Bye-bye.